Transmission of the flame. I feel concerned with knowing my real nature, but this concern does not seem to be deep or earnest enough to actually bring any real insights. How can I become more serious, more effective in my inquiry? Being more concerned will not make you more concerned. To deepen your inquiry, you must explore, adventure into uncharted territories. When you read books and live in compensation, escaping from your deepest desires and needs, you will become bored because you refer everything to the past, to what you already know. Earnestness comes when you look closely at your body-mind, inquire and question your motives for your actions. Ask yourself, what am I really looking for in this act? I don't mean go into analysis of it, looking for compensatory motives, but discover the ultimate motive for what you do. You will see that the ultimate desire is to be desireless. The ultimate goal of all achieving is to be free from the need for striving. The ultimate motive for all becoming is to be free from all that you are not. So face the moment itself. Explore how you waste energy in nervous and muscle compensations. See how you spend time in talking rubbish. Take note that perhaps the effort spent in working means more to you than the check at the end. Look how you function. When you see your mechanism, there will be discrimination in your life. You will be less dispersed, and an intelligence will come in. You will enjoy the quiet moment and look less for compensations. It is only laziness which hinders a serious inquiry. Do not escape the ultimate moment. Face it, and you will become concerned and earnest. You cannot find your real nature. You cannot look for truth or enlightenment. All that you can find is objective. Our real nature is not an object, and so it can never be perceived. When you realize that all you are looking for is an object, and that your real nature is not anything to be found or attained, you go away from looking. And you discover that the looker is what he is looking for. In this approach, there is no system. There is nothing special established to do. It is an approach completely free from all volition, completely free from all intention. You already know moments in daily life when you are completely free from all intention. You have taken these moments to be an absence of function. But these moments without function are not an absent state. Here there is reality, presence, with which you must become attuned. So you're saying there is nothing to improve? One must simply be very peaceful and very quiet? This quietness you will find first in your body. Then you can transpose this quiet freedom from tension onto the level of the mind. But first you must become as you said, quiet. To become quiet, you must take your body as an object of your observation. First, you will discover that you don't observe, that you come constantly to interpretation, to conclusion, evaluation, and comparison. I mean here a completely innocent observation, without any expectation, only taking note of any heaviness or tension of your body. And then you transpose this same quietness on the level of the mind. Well, it sounds so easy, and I find that when I'm by myself and I'm not doing anything, not organizing or cooking or rushing somewhere, there is a possibility of being quiet. But just the fact of having to do something puts me in a different state. I can't seem to keep that quietness and do things. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. But the quietness of the body, the quietness of the mind, is not this quietness of which we are speaking. This quietness, which is your real nature, is beyond mind. When you become more and more accustomed to listening to your body and listening to the movements in your mind, you will one day discover yourself in this listening, in this looking. You can never objectify this looking, this listening. It is totally in the absence of yourself. So that's what you call attention? Yes, it is attention without tension, awareness. And attention without tension is when the attention is free from all striving and all anticipation, free from all end gaining. Is there a feeling of sinking in, a kind of collapsing into the body, like a very relaxed state? No, there is no identification with the body. You are not involved in the body. You feel the heaviness, the weight, the tension. But in this pure, uninvolved looking, there's no longer an accomplice to the tension, to the heaviness. You will see then that there is a moment when the body becomes completely quiet and you come to the different levels of your body, of energy. Because what you call body, physical body, is not your body. Your body has a much bigger extension than your idea of your physical body. You become aware of this extension of your energy when you are completely relaxed, expanded in space, when you are quiet. But I don't seem to have control of my quiet body. As I said before, when I'm in a busy situation, I can't control what's going on in me. There is nothing to control. You must only listen. And then, when you really listen, the listening refers to itself. In this listening, there's not a listener and nothing to listen to. There's only quietness. There's not systematic meditation. There's not systematic being quiet. Because the moment you look for systematic meditation or quietness, then you create a state. Your real nature is not a state. Your home ground is not a state. It is a total presence when there is total absence of yourself as being somebody. It is only in this total absence of ourselves that we are the self. Do I understand you to say that you don't go through any process in order to detach yourself from identification with the person? The moment you look at your fear, anxiety, and all your striving force, your desire to change, you will find space between yourself and what you are looking at. You will find yourself outside the process. Then you are spontaneously detached, not identified. And when you are not identified with the body, you are also detached from the environment. Because your environment is only the five senses. So first become aware of your nearest surroundings, your body, senses, and mind. When your observation is really free from all expectation, free from memory, then this observation refers to itself. Awareness refers to itself. What you are looking for can never be found in any object. It is objectless, like love, freedom, and peace. You can never put these in the frame of a concept, in the frame of the mind. Well, does this awareness that you talk about, does this require effort on the person's part, or is it effortless? It is effortless because you are at it fundamentally. To be still, you don't need to make any effort. It is only the giving up of effort. When you clearly see that you make an effort, then there is no longer an accomplice with the effort, and it goes away. There is nobody who gives up. It is simply giving up. I find that when there is a giving up, and I am without intention, then I am also without interest in self-inquiry. It no longer interests me. What you observe must be interesting for you. It is the only way to sustain the observation. It is only in the giving up of all old patterns, memory, that your life can appear new and interesting to you. But you must come to the moment when what you observe dissolves in your observation, in your attention. In this moment, there's no longer an observer and something observed. There's only stillness. What you observe is in space and time, but the observer is timeless. I don't speak of the relative observer. I speak of the ultimate observer, consciousness, awareness. Well, in living the understanding, but before being established in it, there is a going away from it into the object, becoming identified with it. You used a term, I can't remember your exact words, but you said there is a way in which you can find yourself back to it. I know you were not giving a technique. Perhaps you were talking about organic memory, finding you and bringing you back. Is there a subtlety here you can bring out? Every object is projected from you and has its home ground in you. Potentially, then, the object seen can bring you to a pure seeing. An object heard can bring you to pure hearing. In this hearing and seeing, there is nobody who sees or hears, and no object seen or heard. There is only hearing. There is only seeing. It is not in subject-object relationship. It is completely non-dual. This is the shortest way taught in the direct approach. When you come to the understanding that you are not the psychosomatic body, in this moment you have a glimpse of what you are. But you can never have a glimpse of what you are when it is simply a question from the mind. The question, who am I, does not come from the mind. Asking who am I is accompanied by a tremendous energy. You are on fire. I think you can compare it to the condensed energy present when you are very angry or completely joyful. I would say this kind of energy must be there to ask the questions, who am I? What am I? What is life? Then you have a glimpse of what you are. It is important that you have the glimpse, for this is the understanding of the right perspective. Then you live with the right perspective. There is less and less dispersion. Your life becomes more and more oriented. You use all your energy in a completely different way. As your life becomes more oriented, you see things differently. Before, you saw things only from the point of view of the I, the me. When you see things from the point of view of the I or the me, you live mechanically in choice, in selection. You may say, I see it, but you don't really see it because your seeing is colored by selection. Selection for security, for pleasure, to avoid, and so on. But when you have a glimpse of reality, it is already in a certain way in your background. You see things less and less personally. There comes the quality of global vision, where there is no choice, no selection. You see things more and more as they are, not as you wish them to be, but as they really are. You live in this perspective. You love it. It is a jewel you wear, maybe several times a day. Then there comes a moment in your life that even this geometrical representation, the perspective, dissolves in your real nature. And then there is no return. This switchover is absolutely sudden, instantaneous. You live now without anticipation, without end gaining. You live absolutely in the now. Thinking is a practical, useful tool which you use when you need it, but you no longer think when there is no need to think. There is no more daydreaming. You enjoy really freedom from thought. Oh, you will become a happy man. What more do you want? Is it possible to say, sir, what brings that about, that sudden change? You come to this point through inquiry. You undertake inquiring when there is discrimination, discernment. But the ego cannot discern. Discerning comes from higher reason, from discernment itself. The insight that you are not the psychosomatic body. Inquiring about life calls for a serious character. It takes a profound seriousness. Be earnest. But I don't think it should be a problem for you to be earnest. Jean Klein addresses another questioner. I see you here for the second time. I love you. Have you a question? I had a question yesterday and today. It is the same question, the one I didn't ask yesterday. When I wake up, sometimes the very thing I wake up with is fear. Be completely aware when you say there is fear. When you are alert, the question naturally arises, who has fear? Who is afraid? You have my guarantee that when you ask who has fear, the next day you will see, before the fear appears, that the I, the me, which you take yourself to be, is put in relation to certain circumstances in your daily life. The ego saw the circumstances and felt no security. So there is fear, there is anticipation. So first, face the fear, face the sensation, fear. And you will see that you, the knower of the fear, are not afraid, that only an object has fear. But don't push it away. Face it completely. Explore it in every corner. It is localized in your body somewhere. When you ask the question, who has fear? You will see that the body wakes in the morning in freedom, but immediately you identify with the old representation of yourself. You put yourself in relation with some activity that you have projected. Remember that the personality who has fear is an object, and the situation which produced the fear is an object too. So now there is a relation from object to object. The moment you see this, you are out of the cage. Don't try to manipulate, touch, or interfere, because all this belongs to the cage and you remain in a vicious circle. You cannot reason your way out of the problem. Only see that you are the knower of the problem and not the problem itself. When you are still with your real self, there is no fear. Be careful also how you go to sleep. Don't take all your problems to sleep. There is a kind of hygiene in going to sleep and in waking up. Systematically lay your problems out the front door when you go to sleep. So, sir, I assume that what you just described about investigating the fear is a good example of inquiry. And I'm wondering if there are any other ways of inquiring you could tell us about, or if we must come to inquire each in our own way. The first step is to face, to become aware of the mass of agitation and contraction, which you call fear. The name that you immediately give to the sensation you feel is not the actual fear. The word fear is memory. The word fear does not belong to the actual sensation. So free yourself from the concept fear and face only the perception. Then automatically you will know how to observe it, how to look at it with love and compassion. In this looking, you don't give any food to the concept fear, and an energy wakes up and integrates in your wholeness. So begin by asking, who has fear? And then you will come more and more to know the mechanism. There are people who wake up every morning with fear, afraid of facing work, facing the boss, facing the news from the bank, and so on. It is constant anticipation. But who has fear? It is absolutely indispensable, absolutely necessary to seriously ask this question and live with the question. And that applies regardless of what the object is, even who has joy. Yes, look again at the situation which apparently made you afraid. Look again. But as long as we are an independent entity, we are constantly vulnerable to fear. So it seems the question brings a return to silence. Absolutely. As long as there is any residue of a meditator and something meditated on, then you make meditation an activity of the mind. Every activity is a contraction. Meditation is not an activity of any kind. Feel yourself vertical, but don't try to make yourself vertical. When you feel that you are vertical, you are in the timeless. All action is on the horizontal plane. Meditation is where time and timeless meet in the heart. Have the sensation of your whole body. Feel it in space. Go completely into the space that doesn't belong to time. Dissolve totally in this expansion. Meditation is from moment to moment. The eyes see, the ears hear, the organs function. There is no interiorization, no concentration, no introversion, no withdrawing of the senses. Don't go into the old habits of withdrawal. Go in the directionless expansion, the spaceless space. This is not nirvikalpa samadhi, which is still in a very subtle subject-object relationship. It is not savikalpa samadhi, or direct perception. It is sahaja. Perceiving is savikalpa, and nirvikalpa is conceiving. Sahaja is the natural non-state where function takes place in beingness.